Hey everyone, Jonathan Gorenstein here, the Industrial Insider. I got a very special guest. I have Jason Georgie from Vision Transport, a very good client of mine who specializes in warehousing, trucking, and the distribution world. We'll get his take on what is happening in the world and how he sees things. Jason, I'll throw it over to you for your own introduction, give you a little bit about what you guys are up to and how things are going on your end.
Thanks, Jonathan. Never had such a warm introduction from you before. It kind of puts a smile on my face. It's very nice.
I had to be very nice this time. Other people
Exactly.
are watching.
My name's Jason Georgie. I'm one of the two partners here that own Vision Transportation. So we are a 3PL doing transportation, warehousing, intermodal, across Canada, across North America. And yes, we've been working with Jonathan for a while, working on our needs to try to get buildings for warehouse space, which have proved to be challenging in challenging times.
Okay, so let's jump right into it. So given a lot of things have changed over the last 12 months, what has your experience been over this whole pandemic over the last year or so?
Well, it's a loaded question. It's like I'm sure everybody would say there's pluses and minuses to this whole COVID mess. And depending on what industry you're in, you've either seen an increase in business or you've seen a dramatic drop in business.
Right.
For us, our business has grown, which on one side is great that, you know, your revenue is growing and things like that. But what COVID has added was a layer of dealing with HR issues that nobody's had to deal with before. You know, employees that are afraid to come to work, or somebody has a headache and you have to send them home because you can't take a chance of shutting down your business. Like to operate in this new environment has been a challenge for all of us, I'm sure. And, you know, it's I can't say anybody really would enjoy it. It's been a challenge to say the least.
Okay. I guess what has been the biggest struggle on the transportation side over the last 12 months? Is it cost? Is it back to employees? Like, what do you think has been the biggest challenge over the last 12 months?
Well, the biggest challenge, I can't say it's the biggest because there's many of them. It's multifaceted.
Yeah.
Pricing, certainly. What's happened is because of COVID, you have a lot of companies that are stockpiling inventory or buying more product than they've ever bought in the past because they're afraid ports are going to be closed or they can't get containers. So what it's done is it's the market itself with the trailers that are out there and drivers that are available, it's scooped up everything. So now when you're trying to find a truck to move a load from A to B, you're paying a premium to get it done. If you can get it done at all, it's become a huge challenge. You know, and right now the biggest go-to everybody uses is, oh, it's COVID. We can charge more because it's COVID. Oh, yeah, it's COVID. We can't do this anymore. I mean, we're all faced with the same things, whatever industry you're in.
Okay, so the big story in our world on the industrial side is obviously lease rates. Lease rates have moved significantly over the last 24, even 36 months. And to be honest, we really don't see a slowdown going forward in the next 12 or even 24 months. I guess my question to you is, how have you been managing your clients given that space that you occupy has gone anywhere from, let's say, $6.50 to $10? Like, that's a huge increase. And I'm assuming you just had to manage, become more efficient within your space, and you've had to push that onto your customers. Obviously, I'm sure you've seen a lot of pushback, but how is that transition going?
Well, yeah, it's proved to be a big challenge, and as we've talked in the past, it puts more and more pressure on 3PLs. You know, how do you operate in an environment where the lease rates are as high as they are? You know, we just can't charge what you need to charge for a skid per month for storage. People just won't pay it, especially when your competition is sitting on older buildings or they have favorable leases that are like a 10-year lease or something, and you're trying to quote on one side the new rates, and they have a favorable position on the other side. You know, you end up, you're stuck. You lose out on opportunities. we can go to our customers all you want and say, this is a new environment. Costs have gone up 40%. Nobody is going to pay that.
Right.
Nobody is going to. It's almost impossible for a true 3PL in today's environment to be able to price themselves properly to get into these new rates.
Do you think there is a breaking point on the leasing side or the lease rate that you just throw your hands up and say, you know what, I can't make this work. The buildings just have become too expensive and we can't pass on those costs, or whatever the case may be? Do you think you're already there, or you think you're coming to that point?
No, I think it's very close to that point. And we talked yesterday about another opportunity, and landlords are now saying they want a minimum 10-year lease.
Right.
It's not just the rate, it's the term. How many companies know where they're going to be in 8 years from now or 10 years? As a company, you don't want to tie up your ability to maneuver and do different things for a period of 10 years. We have a 10-year lease where we are in our main building, but that's our head office. We plan to be here that whole time.
Right.
But on other warehouses that you're looking at getting into, you don't know where you will be in 10 years. And are these new lease rates are 40% higher now? You sign a 10-year lease and things come back down to normalcy in 3 years from now. All of a sudden, you're in an inflated building that you're paying a fortune for, and you can't compete anywhere.
Right.
Like, it's a huge fear.
Right. So I guess managing term from your clients is a big selling point now, because you can't really go sell a contract for 10 years. Like, that really doesn't exist in your world. So you're really trying to marry up your lease term with your contracts, and they range anywhere from 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years.
If you could get a 5-year lease or a 5-year deal with your customer, that would be exceptional. The vast majority, and I'd say I probably speak for not just for ourselves, but I bet you most of Vision's competition in the warehouse space have 1-year contracts.
Right.
And even at that, they're really not a contract. They're 1-year agreements with what you're going to charge. But if somebody wants to pull their product out, they're going to pull their product out. I mean, you really have no protection. So if you're looking at a new building and you have a 5-year lease on that building, it's almost like you're building a field of dreams. You're building it and hoping they come, because you don't have a customer that's going to sign a 5-year deal to stay with you for the whole time that you have a lease.
Right.
It's a shot in the dark, and it's an educated shot in the dark, and you have to believe in yourself and your company's ability to get customers. But at the end of the day, it's luck, right? You're hoping.
Okay, well, I want to say thank you for joining me on the podcast on the Industrial Insider. Kind of gives you an overview of what's on the other side of the coin. The last few podcasts have been strictly on the buyer investment side. Now you really understand where the tenants and who's actually occupying this space and how they're managing the market. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My direct line is 416-471-0904, or shoot me an email at jonathan@leonard.com. Have a great day.
Perfect. Thank you. See you later.